Welcome to the Cabinet of Creepy. Some people think a story is just something fun before bed. Something to fill a little time on a rainy day or distract you from being a nuisance for a little while. But a great story, a real story, will make you think. It will take you to another world or another time. A great story could lift your spirits or chill you to the bone. Going to bed. Something we do every day. But sometimes, doesn't going to bed seem so boring? Do you ever feel like you have more to do with your day, more to play, more to learn, more adventure to find? When there's so much life to live, being made to go to sleep can feel like such a drag. Though, there is a reason we have to go to bed, and not just for a good night's sleep. You see, your bed is one of the safest places to be, and that isn't a lesson you want to learn the hard way. A little boy who would never stay in his bed, who would put a light on to play a little longer, who would sneak downstairs to search through cupboards or even make his way outside to play in the garden. Does this sound familiar? Well, this little one just couldn't help himself. He had no time for cozy blankets and cuddly toys. He wanted adventure, exploration, and, like all self-respecting children, to get up to a little mischief. This little boy simply hated going to sleep and would sneak out of his bed to play each and every night when his parents were asleep. It didn't matter how many bedtime stories, soothing lullabies, or gentle requests they offered up. Their son would, with all the silent skill of a shadow, be downstairs playing with toys, in the kitchen, hunting for snacks, or even in the garden, searching for new nocturnal creatures. Wintertime was always particularly testing for his parents, especially that time in winter. You know the one, when it's cold and dark, but also bright and jolly. When there's more family, more food, more treats, and if you're lucky and well behaved, more toys. And at this special time of year, there's also more reason to be watching the skies for someone quite special who might just pay you a visit. And this is where our tenacious twilight trespasser got himself into more trouble than he could ever have imagined. You must understand that being inquisitive and daring is very much a good way for a child to be, so long as they're not so mischievous that they find themselves lost, that they invite danger and darkness. For as the most tremendously magical evening of the entire year, with its festive visits and welcomed gifts, crept closer, this little boy simply couldn't help himself. He just had to watch the skies that eve, to try and catch a glimpse of the glittering wonder that blessed each and every household that night. If only the boy had known that his father had all too well believed that the rolled-up blanket under the bedsheets was, in fact, his son, which is why his father, when downstairs for a drink of water, double-checked and locked the back door. Not that his son noticed. At least not right away. No, the boy gazed up to the skies in nothing but his nightclothes for what must have been hours, only pausing for thought when he realized he couldn't feel his fingers or his toes. And he noticed how still everything had become, and how no animals stirred, no wind rustled in the trees of his garden. The darkness around him seemed to swell and to pull. He moved towards the rear of the house, but the locked door kept him at bay. Not that he was sure he could have opened it, so cold were his little fingers. He tried to call out to his parents, but he was shivering now, and his voice had quite escaped him. What a strange thing! For there was no ice or snow in the garden. The evening wasn't cold enough to cause such shivers and shakes through his body. Only the lightest of frosts had kissed the grass and bushes about the house. To the shed, he thought. At least he would be a little warmer there. But as the boy turned his quivering form to make way towards the small wooden shack, he seemed stuck completely. He felt the tiny stings of cold biting at his nose, fingers and toes now, and he was quite certain he simply could not move. Oh, to be in his bed. Perhaps, he thought, he could make it to next door. Perhaps the young boy with whom he played could be removed from his bed. For right now, this little boy needed it more than his neighbour. There must be another child who could switch places with him and freeze in the garden whilst he slept in warmth. These thoughts swirled from the darkness through the little boy, twisting his jealousy through his pale and frozen chest, poisoning his heart with an icy malice. All the while, the darkness around him pulled and pulled, nipped at and twisted him until he quite forgot who he was, until he quite forgot anything good and kind about the world, other than the warm embrace of a safe, comfortable bed. In the morning the boy was gone. His father searched the garden, the house, and all around the town. But on a morning that should have been full of cheer and festivity, instead there was nothing to be found but the cold. Frozen in the dark and cursed never to grow up, the boy who wouldn't go to bed has long been forgotten by anyone that knew him. His parents never saw him again, but others have. In fact, most of us feel him at some point during the winter time, nipping at your nose, your fingers. Yes, all about him has long been lost to legend, save for his name. Little Jack Frost, the boy who would never go to sleep. So, look out on cold nights for the little boy who might freeze you out of spite. On what should have been the merriest of evenings, he learnt his lesson the hard way, and he'd love to teach you the same, if he catches you out of your bed.